Monday, May 11th, 2020. Mr. Natale, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Kurtz,
Here.
Mr. Strollo,
Here.
Mr. Natale, myself, I'm here. Mr. Mercado,
Here.
Mr. Bowman,
Here.
Mr. Dawson. Mr. Dawson's here. Mr. Carderas,
He's on mute.
he's on mute. Mr. Carderas, Mr. Linder,
Here.
Mr. Tedisco. Alternates, Mr. Anderson,
Here.
Ms. Downs,
Here.
Mr. Selmont.
I'm here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, great. Would everybody like to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag.
United States of America.
To the republic.
To the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was all over the place, but we got it done. Okay, our first order of business tonight is a zone map change petition of Bartlett Head LLC, 2055 Meriden Road. It's an R80 to C3. Can we hear the call, please, Mr. Natale?
Yes. The zone map change petition of Bartlett Headquarters LLC, care of John McCarthy, 40 Maple Avenue, Woolka, Connecticut, 06716, to change the zone from R80 to C3 zone, property located at 2055 Meriden Road, Cheshire, Connecticut, 06410, as generally shown on Assessor's Map number 7, lot number 23, in the C3 and R80 zone.
Okay, thank you. And for the applicant tonight, are we hooked up and ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can we get a brief explanation of your proposal?
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you did have. Yeah, basically, you've been furnished with the maps that we produced, and I believe you have a staff report from Mr. Volker. Essentially, what it is the applicant, the owner of the property, wishes to erect an additional building on the C3 zone, and the reason that we're looking for a zone change is in order to accommodate a buffer and some screening and some stormwater retention and storage. The building, which of course we have this process to go through, and if we are successful here, we'll then have to go before inland wetlands for approval. And of course, if we are successful there, I'll be coming back to you for site plan approval. What we would be proposing at the time, first of all, would be in keeping with the owner wants to keep within the character of the existing uses of the property as it stands. And what we would be proposing, in actuality, the building itself would be in the existing C3 zone. The parking would be in the existing C3 zone. The only thing we're looking for the zone change for is in order to have enough space to accommodate the setback and screening from the residential neighborhood, since all has to be encompassed within the same zone, and also underground stormwater retention. So kind of in a nutshell, that's what we'd be looking to do. And again, the reason for the zone change is just for the buffer setback and appropriate screening for the residential neighborhood. I'm in possession of a few letters that were written by some of the residents. I don't know if you want me to address them at this point.
If I may on that, John.
Later. Pardon me?
John, we have those comments for the commission. Suzanne Simone
Our environmental planner is going to read those into the record, but I was wondering, Mr. Chairman, if you want to hear those now, or does the commission have any questions that you want to ask the applicant before we read those in? What's your preference?
I think we're gonna let the commission get their share first, and I just wanted to make sure that he was all set in his presentation, and then I think it's the way we've always done it is to let the commission members take sort of the first crack at it. And then, of course, we'll go to the public and the public comments, and then if anyone else has any more questions, we'll get to that point at that time.
Thank you.
So, I'm sorry, is John, I don't know who, John, I think you were the one giving the explanation.
Yes, sir.
Are you all set?
Well, I gave you an overview of it. I'd be glad to entertain whatever questions you have.
Okay, so I'm going to open up now to questions. Anyone, any members of the commission would like to ask questions on this application? Mr. Natalia.
Quick question. So this whole property in the back there, that's the portion in Cheshire, is 4.53 acres, and you're only looking for the little sliver behind the building. It's less than, I think it was like 0.4 acres
Yes,
to rezone. Are there any plans to expand in the future for the back 4 additional acres approximately, or?
No, actually, there is not, because obviously, first of all, it's an R80 zone. And as I think it was stated in your staff report, it's you know, there's no, it can't be developed.
Okay.
Main reason is there is no street frontage, and the only way to get street frontage would to go through a GC zone in the town of Wolcott, which is very similar to your C3 zone. It's general commercial, and that would be the only way to access any road frontage, and it's just not doable, and it doesn't keep within the character of the use of the property. So this essentially this next building that we will be proposing, if we are clear through tonight and clear through wetlands, that would be the extent of it, of any development there.
Thank you.
Would you be willing to put the rest of the property that you say is undevelopable into a some sort of a conservation easement?
I actually have had discussions with the property owner pertaining to exactly that. And, but I don't want to give you any assurances right here on the spot. I could, probably do that at site plan submission, but what we had discussed is possibly donating it to the town of Cheshire, since the town of Cheshire is a fairly significant property abutter to the, as you're looking at the maps that we supplied you, if you're looking like from standing in Meriden Road, looking into the property, it would be down the left side. A significant portion is the town of Cheshire, which also ties into that big, large 300-400 acre tract that Cheshire has on the top of Southington Mountain going down the mountain.
Yeah,
So
one way or the other, it's our common frontage is 524 feet.
Right.
Shown on your map.
Yes. So that, again, that was a discussion we had about, possibly, alleviating him of the property in some way, shape, or form, because it really, it's not suitable for residential development, and there's no way we're going to go through trying to get a zone change again.
So, Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes. Yep, Mr. Linder.
So, Mr. McCarthy, my name is Gil Linder, for the record. So this area that you want to rezone, that what I'm gathering is that would be untouched. You would not be cutting any trees down or developing any part of it.
Well, I'm sure there is a portion of it that we would have to do some clearing in order to do our underground stormwater storage. But as far as construction of the building and construction of the parking area, there wouldn't need to be any trees on the existing residential zone. Wouldn't need to be bothered with.
Okay, that's,
We essentially, the way we had set it up, we had enough room for the building completely in the commercial zone, and we had enough room for the parking completely in the commercial zone. We just didn't have enough room then. The parking was basically butted right back up to the zone line. So if we cross the existing zone line, if we gain approval for this, we will be doing that only for the buffer, any potential screening that is necessary to alleviate any of the neighbors' issues that they might have, and also whatever we need to do for I believe we're going to design underground storage and leachate for stormwater runoff.
thank you. One of the reasons why I asked that question, and I don't want to jump ahead, but one of the residents that lives on Charter Oak Drive,
Mm-hmm.
which is behind the property, and abuts the area. They had concerns about that the developed property would infringe upon the residential area, but it sounds like there wouldn't be any infringement on any of the residential portions.
Well, and actually, which I was going to cover when it came time for the commission to review the residents' comments, but I believe by default, if we are able to go through this entire process right to fruition, I believe that they will experience a much more privacy situation than what they currently have, just by default.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, commission members, anyone else looking to ask? I don't have everybody on my screen, so like if Woody's out there has anything to ask, or Mr. Tedesco, Mr. Anderson, anything from any of you guys?
From me, from Mr. Mercado.
Sorry, Mr. Mercado.
Is the building that's already there, is that being replaced, or is this additional to what's there?
No, this would be additional to the complex.
Okay.
Earl, Lou
Yep.
Tedesco.
Hey Lou, how are you?
I'm well. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Just one question for the applicant. So I have the map in my, I think Mr. Linder cleared this up, but I've got the map in my hand, and there's a triangular area with diagonal lines. And that's the area that you're seeking to have the zone change for. And if I understand you correctly, then there won't be construction at all in that area, except there may be some clearing for drainage purposes or for future screening. Is that what, am I hearing that correctly?
Yes, you are. There will not be a building in that lined zone, and there will not be any parking in that lined zone. What will be there would be potential screening, if to alleviate some of the residents' concerns, if we need to put up, just hypothetically, some, 10 or 15 foot arborvitaes, or if a fence needed to be erected, or, something along those lines. But the actual construction, the actual building footprint and parking footprint would not even enter into the area that we're asking to be rezoned. It's
Okay, and the
strictly
port, I'm sorry, no, that's very helpful. And the portions of lot 23, which is your lot, that borders the R80 properties will not be developed. That's going to be that area will not be developed.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm looking at I have the map in my hand still, and lot 23 is a fairly large lot in a large portion of it will stay zoned R80.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes, lot 23, right. Yes, that would be untouched.
Okay, and so,
It
and that's
won't,
what,
it won't be cleared and it won't be constructed on.
yes, okay, and that's the portion that, from what I can see, that abuts other R80 zoned parcels.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Okay, any other commission members? Questions, comments, anything? Mr. Stroll.
Yeah. So from looking at this map, the lot 33, they're already dealing with a C3 zone just because they border it on their other border line. And that's, I could see where their issue was, but I don't believe that this would affect it at all. On lot 34, the distance being between the line, 500 feet on one side and probably 300 on the other, before it hits their property. If the applicant's willing to do some kind of something with that property to make it a permanent buffer, I think that alleviates any problems with the other neighbors. And I don't see any problems with what's going on here. But I think that that's the concern of those neighbors, is they think that we're zone text changing all the way to their back property line. So I think that that's what the problem is.
Well, yeah, I understand, and they've had, I've read through, there was 4 letters received. I read through all their issues, and I believe that I could alleviate the lion's share of them tonight. But yes, the lot number 33, they are also dealing with a C3 commercial, which is a used car lot out in front of their property, front to me being out towards Meriden Road. We picked this particular configuration of this zone change because we had come up right to the C3 zone line and needed our buffer. We didn't need very much where you see it comes to a point where it starts at the bottom of the triangle, and it's spread out further because our intention is for the stormwater runoff storage to be basically directly behind that existing building. So that's kind of why we configured it the way we did. We basically only want to take the minimum that we needed, is what it amounts to. And yes, within that, what one of the commission members referred to as the striped zone, of course, the property owner would be willing to do, whatever screening would be necessary, whether it be, foliage or fence or whatever the case may be, whatever is needed to make the folks happy. But I think it's important to note that the closest structure to the property line anywhere is well over 200 feet away through a very densely wooded area. And some of the letters that appeared pertaining to this, which of course there was 4 of them and all 4 were in opposition to it. 2 of them are property abutters. A third one is over 2 properties away, and they were involved in the notification because there's a 500-foot diameter, and the 500-foot splits their property. And the 4th letter came from a resident who is 3 properties away. Their structure is over 600 feet from our property line at the closest point, and just a little sliver of their property, about maybe 50 or 100 square feet of it, falls within that 500-foot diameter that we drew around for notification purposes. So, our feeling is that it'll be not only minimal to no impact, but again, by virtue of what we're planning to do, we believe that they are going to their privacy factor will be increased from where it is currently.
I just have one other thing to add. I think with the neighbors, what they're seeing, and I think it's really out of Cheshire's control, is we'll get there's a lot of lighting on that road. It's heavy lit, and they probably get that lighting coming up, and maybe your little bit of woods helps, keep the lights from coming all the way over to their property. So that I could see as a neighbor why they have a concern. So I mean, they're probably already, dealing with the 322 Meriden Waterbury Road there, with all the lights of all the businesses that are there already going.
I'm
Chairman, you
sure,
want to read? Go ahead, Matt.
I'm sure that is a part of it, but I can tell you this, that on our property, there are no lights shining back towards the woods, none whatsoever. And where we would be proposing to put the additional building would block out a big section of the Meriden Road lighting from those two closest residents.
Okay, thank you.
The building itself would alleviate a lot of that light coming from Meriden Road.
Okay, Mr. Bowman.
It also should be noted here that Lot 33, part of Lot 33 is in a C3 zone.
Yes, it is. They have a 50-foot secondary access. It's a complete interior lot with two 50-foot accesses, one from Charter Oak and one from Meriden Road.
Okay.
My understanding is, though, that is a legal access for their property.
I'm sure that it is.
Yep.
Okay, any other commission members with questions?
Yeah, I have one. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Basically, I think we should only be concerned on Cheshire side, the Cheshire Planning and Zoning, and the rest would be the Wilkett Planning and Zoning and not our concern. I realize that if you know somebody there or something, you might be speaking for them, but basically, I think we should just stick to the Cheshire rules and vote on what Cheshire's property is, Cheshire's property, and not speak about the stuff that doesn't concern us. That's my feelings personally, Food for thought, guys. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Woody.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I of course agree with the commissioner's take on that this is strictly a Cheshire issue. But I also would like for it to be noted that the owners of the property, they have all good intention of being good neighbors. So whether there needs to be a remedy purely on Cheshire property or whether there's a partial remedy that, pertains to Wilkett property, the owner of the property is willing to do what needs to be done to address the residents' concerns.
But that would be done on a site plan and not here.
Yes.
Okay, if there's no one else, we're gonna go to the comments. I don't know if Bill has those, Suzanne, who has those?
Suzanne is going to read them in, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, there are 4 comments that were received,
okay,
and I'll read them in the record verbatim in the order that they were received. So the first is from Nancy Brecher. In regards to item 1, the zone map change petition of Bartlam Headquarters LLC. I've been a resident of Cheshire for 25 years. One of the biggest reasons I have chosen to live and stay in Cheshire is because of the town's focus on limiting development in order to maintain its reputation as one of the top small towns in Connecticut. The zoning request by Bartlam Headquarters LLC from residential to commercial would drastically change the landscape surrounding our homes. Our homes are in close proximity to Meriden Waterbury Road. The wooded area referenced in the zoning request provides the neighborhood with the small town feel we have come to respect and admire in Cheshire. The zoning request, if approved, would bring visibility of Meriden Waterbury Road, noise, lights, and drastically reduce the value of our homes. This reduction in value would also cause a reduction in tax assessments and thereby lower taxes paid to the town. I'm requesting to keep this residential area of Cheshire as it's been for 25 years and hopefully for many more to come. Sincerely, Nancy Brecher. The second is from Jeff and Mary Lee Novia. My husband has been a resident of Cheshire almost his whole life, and I've been a resident of Cheshire for the past 28 years. We moved into the neighborhood we live in now for the family small neighborhood appeal and raised 2 children who attended Cheshire schools. We wanted our children to be safe and have a neighborhood atmosphere and that's full of trees and land that was a huge draw for us. To lose this would be life-changing, as well as our property values would suffer in this beautiful neighborhood we live in. Please get that concept, the neighborhood we live in. Please see this from our perspective, as I know neighbors have also sent emails. The zoning request for Bartlett Headquarters LLC from residential to commercial would seriously change our neighborhood and its surroundings. The wooded area serves as a buffer to the commercial properties behind some of our houses in question. If the zoning request is approved, it would bring noise, lights, and deter the right of wildlife that currently inhabits this area and bring down the values of our properties. As longtime Cheshire residents, we do not feel that this is what the town of Cheshire would want for tax-paying residents and longtime citizens. We are requesting to keep the property residential and to be included in any decision before it's made. Thank you, and please do not hesitate to contact us at any time regarding this matter. Third comment is from Lisa Murray. Dear Mr. Natale and Planning and Zoning Commission, recently I, along with other neighbors who live on Charter Oak Drive here in Cheshire, this letter of comments is to express my choice against both the zone change from residential to commercial zoning and the extending the zone line further, which will directly about our neighborhood private property. However, adding a new category for breweries and wineries is acceptable, but their location should not be abutting predominantly a zoned residential area of which young and mature families live. I've lived on Charter Oak for over 25 years. This neighborhood was chosen back then because of our acreage and quiet area, with the privilege of raising our family and the ability for our children to attend one of the finest school systems in Connecticut. Listed are some major concerns of why I'm against the zone change from R80 to R3 and 2, extending the zone line inward towards private residential property. Number 1, danger of drunk drivers, either on nearby roads or within the neighborhood. We do not have sidewalks in our neighborhood or the surrounding roads of adjacent neighborhoods. Adults and children alike walk, run, and ride bikes, including with our pets in our neighborhood and surrounding neighborhood. 2, the increase of traffic, which will create a disability of being able to reach our local conveniences nearby, of which in number are less than residential. They are quiet in nature. The traffic increase will create a higher number of road use, its repair, and drunk driving accidents equated increased cost to the town. 3, loss of wildlife habitat. As a DEEP wildlife rehabber for the past 15 years plus, I realize the negative impact of their area of living and food supply. Many birds that live in this proposed zone change that are federally protected. Their habitat cannot be disrupted. Along with the birds are coyotes, fox, skunks, raccoons, and the local black bear. This will result in the invasion of wildlife near or on private property. I experienced the destruction of a large area of my property, which several vagrants were living in wooded section of my backyard within the boundaries of proposed zone change. This area was littered extensively with used food and liquor containers, as well as personal hygiene items, as well as drug devices used for crack cocaine. All was reported and handled by Cheshire Police Department. This littering causes the black bear to encroach on my property, causing a safety concern for my family and pets. I do not wish to experience the similar issue due to the use of either food trucks or food served inside. Along with alcohol and food will attract the animals, especially the black bear, to close proximity to either near or on our properties. Number 4, wetland and water courses nearby will be disrupted, creating issues in regards to increased waters flooding and causing disruption of our well water aquifers. Number 5, the issue of noise from extra cars, patrons, and music, whether piped in or from live music, especially if it is performed outside in nicer weather. 6, lastly, the reduction of our home values. This is a critical economic issue that the brewery will cause. Having the brewery will cause a negative impact on potential buyers. There are other multiple commercial properties for rent or purchase in areas that can support this development. We, along with other neighbors, purchased our land to build our homes because of the residential zoning, as well as the 300 acres of open space. And the last comment received today from Mike House. Hi, my wife and I own 110 Charter Oak Drive, which is the property that has been shared property line with the property in question, and as such, we would be the most impacted of anyone by this zone change. Already they have installed many bright lights that point directly towards our home against zoning regulations, and we have no way to block the bright lights from directly coming into our windows or disturbing our peace in our yard at night. The more trees they take down and develop in that area, encroaching into residential area, the more noise and light comes into our yard and our house as a result. We are very much against any infringement on the existing residential zone land right up against our backyard. The main thing that makes our home desirable and marketable is that it is surrounded by trees and it's in a nice neighborhood. As it stands, I'd like to see them do something along their perimeter of the parking lot, like large evergreens or something that we don't have to deal with so much noise and lights from the commercial development. For the concept of putting a brewery or something right next to our backyard where our kids play, I would say absolutely not. We are against this prospect. Already being close to Waterbury Line, we have homeless people come by, close by is a concern, but adding the element of a brewery where people can go to drink alcohol right next to my home is something that would seriously affect our desire to stay here and would very much impact our property value. Since they have started construction as well, our water table has gotten a lot worse. Somehow there's an impact to the wetlands as well. We did not buy this house thinking that a commercial space on the other side of the trees in our backyard would be allowed to start building into their residential zoned area. Sorry, my office light just went off. Where was I? Into their zoned area, we very much against this prospect. Even though the area is commercial, it is right next to a nice residential neighborhood, and any expansion into that only residential buffer between us and the commercial building not be changed due to the large impact it would have on us, our neighbors, our community. The natural animal habitat in that area, our home values, our wetlands, our quality of life, and our right to quiet enjoyment of our home and land. Please consider declining this petition for all of these reasons. Our entire neighborhood feels the same way about this. And that is it for comments.
Okay, those were the comments that came in earlier. Is Arnett on? Do we have comments? Anything that came in live?
I have checked, and there is nothing that has come in since I've been speaking of these other comments. So no additional emails have been sent or received.
Okay, Mr. McCarthy, you want to address any of the concerns from the neighbors?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's unfortunate. Apparently, 2 of the 4 letters, it appears as though the residents, with all due respect, have confused your agenda tonight and are thinking that your 2 items are of this pertaining to the same parcel. So, at some point, I would hope, Mr. Chairman, that they wouldn't just hear from me, but you would explain what the difference is. But just to go on the record and say, I've been on this project a year and a half, and there has been no discussion whatsoever about any alcohol-related business going into the premises. The owner has fairly specific uses that he would like to do for the new building, none of which have anything to do with any alcohol-related business, whether it be a brewery, a liquor store, a restaurant, none of that. So I just wanted to make sure that was on the record and let you explain the difference on the agenda. I think one of the letters, the resident was speaking in terms of that the entire property is up for zone change, and I just wanted to make the clarification that it's only that 0.4, I believe it is, acres of the 4 point, is it 4.23 or 4 point something total area. It's only that little sliver that we're looking for the zone change in order to be able to create the buffer. Again, the R80 zone has no potential for development, so this would be the extent of it. One of the residents mentioned something about having with the well wall commercial building. Now, the entire complex here, including the Wolcott and both of them, as of around 2000, have been serviced by City Water, Regional Water Authority, which also services Cheshire. I also, like I said, I've been on this project a year and a half. It's kind of the cart horse concept. First things have to be done first, because if there's a stop somewhere along the way, you can't go any further. But it took me a long time. I had to get approval for an additional separate hookups for the new building for both sewer and water. Now for the sewer aspect, I had to deal with the city of Waterbury, all their commissions, Water Pollution Control Board of Aldermen. I had to deal with DEEP up in Hartford. And then of course I dealt with Regional Water Authority to get approvals for sewer and water. Also, the entire property, both Cheshire and Wolcott, the drainage is all set towards Meriden Road, and it has been that way for 20, 30, 40 years. So I think if and just to put a small note in, the property next door that's out in front of lot 33, I consulted on that 20 years ago, and that also at its opening had sewer and city water. So whatever the resident is referring to as far as their wells, it's got to be a zero impact from this property, because there's no draw off the aquifer or off of any groundwater. There's no stormwater running into wetlands. There's no impact on anybody's sewer or anybody's septic systems. So I think that that's not an issue. But again, like I said, I think that what we will be proposing, if we continue down the line, I think that the residents will be pleased that it will, in fact, by default, give them more privacy and more quiet enjoyment than what they currently have. And I think that pretty much covers just about everything they've covered in their letters. But also too, if we get that far, when it comes time for a site plan submission, we will address any concerns that come up, any.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we did get one more comment just came in. Suzanne wants to read it in.
Okay.
Okay, this comment is from Mary House. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
From Mary House, and it says, "Hi. He said there are no lights on his building shining at our house, but there are 4 very bright lights right at the top of the 2-story building that shine right at our house all night long." And that is from Mary House.
Okay. I would refer to staff. Is that something the zoning enforcement officer can go up and check out? And I mean, it's supposed to be full cutoff lighting and abide by the regulations. Is that, am I correct in saying that?
Might not have
It's a
been back
Wolcott.
then.
It's Wolcott.
No, it's not Wolcott, it's Cheshire. No, it's not. It's Cheshire,
is?
but it might not have been regulated that way when this was built originally.
Well, that is something I can definitely take up with the property owner, and it can be addressed.
Well, certainly on the new property, it would be required that there be no light off the property. I do have a question, EJ. Is this in any way, shape, or form in an aquifer zone? Someone had mentioned aquifer.
No,
Not that I could, no.
I didn't think so, but I just wanted it, for the record, I wanted it clarified.
According to our engineer, it is not.
Okay.
no, Matt, it's not in the Act for Protection Area.
I didn't think so, Bill, but I just wanted it, I wanted it for the record. And again, I would be in favor of this as long as the additional land that's there is either given to the town of Cheshire, as you had suggested, or put into a conservation easement so that the people that are abutting it would never, ever again have to worry about some sort of expansion.
I can, of course, take that up with the owner, and I'm sure I could get an answer back to Mr. Volker.
Thank you.
Okay, so that'd be something you have to do at another time, obviously. So we're going to be extending this public hearing. Any other questions from applicants? I mean, I'm sorry, commissioners?
Looks like Woody's frozen out, but he did have his hand up.
He did? All right, we'll give him a sec to get back in.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
would it be possible that the possible donation or creation of a conservation easement, could that be done at site plan approval time?
No,
No? Okay.
I wouldn't vote for it if it was done then.
Okay.
I would want to see it now. I mean, that's just me and I'm only one vote, so.
Yeah, no, like I said, the owner is intent on being a good neighbor, so
Okay, our next meeting is May 27th, I think. So it's not too far off.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Again, anyone else with this?
I think Woody's trying to talk.
Ben, I admitted him, so I don't know why I can't talk, so.
It took him a couple minutes for his audio to connect the other day too.
He's on his iPhone right now, so I don't know what he's gonna be able to do with that thing, so.
Model -2, yes.
Yes.
All right, well, I mean, this is being held open.
Steve Jobs built that one himself.
This is being held open, so he can obviously get his comments heard in the next our next public hearing. So with that, nothing else, Bill, from no
We
other
have
comments?
nothing, Mr. Chairman. We have no, that's it.
Okay, so we'll be leaving this public hearing open
Mr.
and
Chairman,
yes.
if you could just briefly for the residents that are watching, explain the
Oh, yes.
agenda, the agenda confusion.
The mix up in the agenda is the first order of business with the zone map change petition, which is just your property on 2055, which number 2 is a zone text change petition that we'll be getting to, and that's the one coming in with the brewery, and we're looking to change the text to allow breweries in areas of industrial areas and commercial areas. But what we've heard here in this public hearing is just on your property and not to bring in a brewery into your property on Meriden Road.
Right.
Is that correct, Steph? I say it correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. These applications are completely independent. One has nothing to do with the other.
Yep. Okay. Woody's still on the fence?
Woody's off completely.
He's off completely?
Oh.
He's just on it. It says iPhone, no video.
He's gonna send it in on his stone tablet.
Which is one model up still.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, before I would eventually get cut off or whatever, I'd just like to tell everybody, I hope that everybody stays healthy. This was a first for me in the times we're living in, I guess, right?
Yeah,
But
for all of
I
us.
wish everybody the best of health, and that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. McCarthy. We'll be leaving this
Thank
public hearing open. All right, moving on. Zone text change petition of Counterweight Brewing Company LLC to add new paragraph 58A to section 30, Schedule A, permitted uses. A, breweries, wineries, distilleries, and other alcoholic manufacturing facilities as licensed by the state of Connecticut. Mr. Natale, can we please hear the call?
Sure.
I'm
The
going
zone
to
text-
log out, folks.
Thanks. Have a
Okay,
good night.
thank you.
The zone text
Thank you.
change petition of Counterweight Brewing Company LLC, care of Anthony J. Fazzone Esquire, Fazzone, Ryan and Merchuti LLC, 2 Town Center, Cheshire, Connecticut, 06410, to add a new category to use section 30, Schedule A, permitted uses, 58A, breweries, wineries, permitted in C2, C3, and I2 by site plan approval in I1 zones by special permit.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, we have comments from various agencies. I'd like to read those into the record right now.
Sure, go ahead.
First one from Regional Water Authority, RE Zone Text Change, Section 30, Schedule A. The Regional Water Authority has reviewed this is dated March 24th, 2020. The Regional Water Authority has reviewed the above referenced zone text change. The applicant is requesting breweries and other alcohol manufacturing activities be allowed in the I1, I2, C2, and C3 zone. Portions of these zones are located within the North Cheshire Aquifer Protection Area. Alcohol manufacturing is not a regulated activity in the APA. Our only concern is related to the distribution process. Maintenance of fleet vehicles is a regulated activity. On-site refueling and washing could be conducted using a similar process as Whole Foods and Airgas. Based on information submitted, we have no objection to the zoning amendment. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on this application. If you have any questions, please contact me at Ron Walters, rwalters@rwater.com. Sincerely, Regional Water Authority, Ronald Walters. Mr. Chairman, just a quick response to that. Anything that's in the Aquifer Protection Area for site plan approval or special permit, we would send to the Regional Water Authority anyway. So they would have a chance to comment on any individual applications when the time comes. Second one is from South Central Regional Council of Governments, dated April 15th, 2020. Thank you for submitting the proposed zoning regulation amendment to add new paragraph 58A to section 30 Schedule A permitted uses. The referral was reviewed by SCRCOG staff, and it was determined that a review by the Regional Planning Commission is not required for this item. The applicable zoning districts are not within 500 feet of municipality in South Central Region. Best Eugene Lipschitz, Senior Regional Planner, South Central Regional Council of Governments. Next one is from CROG, Capital Region Council of Governments, dated March 26, 2020. Report on zoning referral, proposed zoning regulations amendments pertaining to breweries, wineries, distilleries, and other alcoholic manufacturers. The comment is the staff of the Regional Planning Commission of the Capital Region Council of Governments has reviewed this referral and finds no apparent conflict with regional plans and policies of neighboring towns. For sites located on the municipal border, we recommend that the town take into consideration uses across municipal boundaries, and that any more limiting restrictive measures related to traffic management, hours of operation, parking, screening, noise, lighting, or signage, particularly for sites bordering residential uses in neighboring towns, be applied so as to mitigate potential impacts across municipal borders. In accordance with our procedure, this letter will constitute final CROG action on this referral. Questions should be directed to Lynn Pike Del Santo. Next item is from the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments. States this dated March 13th, 2020. Staff finds this proposed zoning regulation text amendment to be not regionally significant and have no intermunicipal impacts. And that summarizes, that are all the comments we had from any outside agencies, Mr. Chairman. And we do have some comments from the public, a couple. We can read those in now, if you wish. Suzanne?
Okay, a comment came in from Scott DeMayo. Planning and Zoning Commissioners, I would like to submit for the record my support of everyone involved who is working to bring to Cheshire establishments that will allow local residents to socialize and gather. I believe that along with bringing in reliable businesses, that this will allow the community the much needed venue to connect with each other and continue to foster what Cheshire is all about. We're a small town that yearns to support local bars and restaurants. Everyone I talk to is frustrated with the fact that other than a few locations, we have to venture outside of town to enjoy craft beers and cocktails. I can't list the number of people who have said that Cheshire needs a brewery or Cheshire needs its own craft beer tap room. I fully support making the necessary changes to Section 30, Schedule A of the Town of Cheshire zoning regulations that will allow Counterweight Brewing Company and other similar businesses to manufacture beer, wine, or spirits in accordance with the laws of the state of Connecticut. I look forward to this not only as a win for the businesses, I look at it as a win for the residents of Cheshire. Signed, Scott DeMeo, 10 Iris Court, Cheshire. And that is the only comment for this application.
I thought we had one more. When I read earlier, we had another comment. Well, anyway, I think there's one more if you look for it, but Mr. Fazona, would you like to start your presentation?
Yes, I was just looking for the copy of that other comment by Mr. Ferguson.
Jamie Ferguson had one.
Yeah. But for the record, my name is Anthony Fazone. I'm an attorney here in the town of Cheshire, the law firm of Fazone, Ryan, and Ricciuti. The application before you tonight, as stated in the call of the record, is to allow breweries and I guess what we, just for the purposes of tonight, calling them accessory uses. The staff report is very thorough. It talks about allowing breweries in which are at the present time considered as manufacturing. And what we're trying to do with this regulation is to specifically identify other factors or accessories to those two breweries in those zones. One of which are, and a lot of this is based on experiences both that the applicant has had and that we've taken a look at throughout the state. And it's based on the successful experiences that have gone on in other municipalities in the state. So in addition to the brewing of brewing or distilling, the proposed application would allow tasting rooms. It would allow food service, both as a restaurant type of service, pub food and that sort. And also there's been quite a bit of success with the with breweries with food trucks. The application before you would allow for entertainment and events to be held on the properties that would ultimately, if this is passed, would come before you to either and as with the rest of the properties in the I-1 zone, it would be a special permit. In the other zones, it would be a site plan application. The breweries per se would not be required to meet the 2,000-foot restaurant separation in the I-2, I-1 zone and all the industrial zones. As I've stated, the application is based on and successful experiences elsewhere in the state. Mr. Ferguson provided reference to several articles. I'm sorry that we didn't get it sooner. I saw I might have come in this afternoon. But he references several articles and studies that have been done showing the impact on small to middle-sized communities, that they act as a stimulant to the community, an opportunity, as the other correspondent said, for social engagement. They generally have positive fiscal impacts on small and mid-sized communities, create jobs, and I just did locate Mr. Ferguson's letter.
I think it's just Ferguson's view, just to,
Oh,
yeah.
I should know that. I have a daughter named Jamie.
Yeah.
They talks about, I don't know that Cheshire is at the point where it needs revival, but that breweries do revive communities, and it's looked upon as an industry, and something that I think would be helpful to the town and would be beneficial to the town. The Regional Water Authority comment about aquifer in the trucks, my recollection is that if I think it would have to be a pretty major brewery to be servicing their own trucks, but servicing is something that is not allowed in the aquifer. And what I think the reference to Whole Foods and Airgas is that they have someone come in from the outside to wash their trucks and their vehicles, and all that water is collected and doesn't infiltrate into the aquifer. With that, as I said, the staff report is more comprehensive than what I've gone through, but I'd certainly be willing to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Machado, first one.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. On wastewater, is that sewer, septic, or are they going to be hauling wastewater out with a truck, and will that have any issues with water management?
There's sewers there, sanitary sewers.
The next, Bill, what parking reg does this fall under for that area? Is it?
Well, first of all, what you have tonight is a text amendment, not a site plan.
Okay.
So if you want to worry about the site plan when it comes in, we'll be happy to do that. But tonight, we're really not able to make any comments about any specific location for anybody who might be served by this application.
Got it. The 2,000 foot rule, it doesn't apply to this, but would this affect a restaurant going in there where, hey, I can't put the restaurant because there's this facility there?
No.
No, I think that, if I may answer that, I think the way that it's written, it says that that the brewery applicant does not have to qualify or does not have to adhere to the 2,000, but that wouldn't change the fact of what just strictly a restaurant would be obligated to follow. And I don't think, the way it's written anyway, that this would prohibit a restaurant from being located within 2,000 feet of a brewery.
That just seemed really unclear to me. So I don't know if there's a way to clear that up just to make sure or not. Thank you. I'm good. After that, if we get an answer on that.
Okay, anyone else from the commission wishing to ask questions on this application?
Earl?
Yes, Mr. Tedesco.
Tedesco?
Yes.
Well, okay, Mr. Fazzone, I mean, this amendment is for an awful lot more than just a brewery. I mean, it starts off breweries, wineries, distilleries, and other alcoholic manufacturing facilities as licensed by the state of Connecticut, period. That's a brewery. Then it goes on to talk about tasting rooms. I guess those are ancillary to a brewery. That's fine. And food service, perhaps ancillary to the tasting room. Okay. Then it moves into full service restaurants, food trucks, delivery services, and retail sales. It may also be designed to hold events or provide entertainment to their guests. So this is more than just manufacturing beer or wine. This particular new amendment to the regulations. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes. I guess that's what I thought I talked about in my presentation, that it would allow all of those things.
Well, no, you did. Okay, well, you did talk
And,
about it.
and many of them are most of them are common to the industry that's grown up around the breweries. And if you've been to wineries in Connecticut, lots of them have restaurants, or a couple that I'm aware of have restaurants. They have entertainment. They do events with food trucks.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and I've been to some, and I think, frankly, a brewery is probably a good thing for the town of Cheshire. But again, this goes beyond that. I guess what I'm focusing on is if this can be built just based on a site plan, the commission then has very little control over how it may affect neighbors, either in the commercial area, I suppose, or if we're abutting residential zones. And it seems to me that for something that's this substantial, we should be thinking about perhaps a special permit, at least outside of the industrial zones. I mean, again, I'm only one person. Everybody else on the commission may think I'm wrong and all that, and that's fine. I mean, even
Lou,
with
wait for a second though, Lou, wait. In a commercial zone right now, somebody could set up a restaurant with a banquet facility in it as of right. And they could serve alcoholic beverages there. There's not a real big difference. The difference right now, a brewery is a manufacturing facility, okay? And they're not allowed, no manufacturing facilities are allowed in the commercial zones. That's why it's been introduced here, because there have been a few potential microbreweries have looked at commercial properties that are underperforming to establish their facility. But if it was just a restaurant, they could go in there now, set the restaurant up as a use by right, and have events and entertainment and all the things that are, normal, restaurant type uses that you currently really have no more than a site plan review of anyway. So the other things that are there, there's a brewery right now. Budweiser could come in here in an industrial zone, set up a facility. What they couldn't do, but they probably could do a tasting room. We could probably argue that a tasting room is a normal accessory to that. You could probably go to Budweiser's brewery out in the Midwest somewhere and taste the beer as part of the tour. You could probably buy T-shirts there, a number of other things. But really what this application tries to do is to enable the breweries that might choose to locate in Cheshire to be, to do everything that their competitors can do in every other location. So it's not really that much different in the commercial zones. And if you make this a special permit, and you're making the distinction between what they do and what a restaurant does, I don't think there is one. I think right now you can do a restaurant that has, all the things that you're speaking of. And they can do it as of right in the commercial district. So it really isn't that much different.
All right, okay, well, at least I have that, I have that for the record now, and I've had that explanation. All right,
Okay, Mr. Tedesco, you all set with your comments for now?
yes.
Okay.
And Rob, if I may, Rob, what's your question again? What was your concern regarding the distance restriction?
Does it affect the restaurant? I know that,
No,
so.
it would only apply to what it's proposed to apply to here. It wouldn't extend anywhere beyond that.
No, I think.
Remember, what they want to establish here, hold that, Anthony, please. What they want to establish here is a brewery, is a manufacturing facility, a brewery. Okay, and they want to have these other attendant uses that could include the various types of food service that we suggested they include here. So, but it only applies to those uses that are being proposed here. It doesn't now extend to anything else.
No, I understand that. I'm just wondering does it get in the way of a restaurant that wants to go right next door because it's within 2,000 feet? Does this inhibit that restaurant? That's all that's unclear to me.
What's the zone that the restaurant wants to go into?
I don't know if these two are in the same area where the 2,000 foot comes into play. Can it inhibit a restaurant coming in?
The 2,000 foot is only applicable to the industrial zones. The 2,000 feet has nothing to do with the commercial zones. And a restaurant, so restaurants by themselves are still limited by the 2,000 foot restriction. Restaurants are.
But it's only if it's a restaurant only.
Right, but what we're allowing here are manufacturing facilities. They're called breweries.
No,
where they
I understand that. I'm all for this. I was just wanted to make sure it didn't stop a restaurant that wanted to come in if it happens to be in the same industrial area. You know what I'm saying?
But restaurants right now aren't permitted in industrial areas, except with the limitation that's prescribed in the regulations. This doesn't affect that in any way.
Okay, fair enough.
If I may, Mr. Picotto, if you look at section 40A of the regulations, it says, except as set forth in 40B below, restaurants and other food service establishments, when in an industrial zone, shall not be constructed or located within 2,000 feet of any existing or approved restaurant. So as an approved restaurant.
Okay, I just want to make sure there was a difference.
There is.
That's good.
The main difference here is, Rob, is that the restaurant is an accessory part of the manufacture of alcoholic beverages. That's the difference.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it didn't cause a problem with the restaurants.
Understood.
Mr. Natale.
Just, Bill, if memory serves me correctly, the farms in town, the apple orchards and those sorts of establishments, those are mostly zoned residential, correct? So this would have no bearing on them.
Most of them, not all of them, but most of them, not all.
Okay.
Any other commission members with questions or comments? Were we able to find Jamie Ferguson's comments?
Yeah, Suzanne?
Yes. So this was submitted from Jamie Ferguson, Planning and Zoning Commissioners. I'd like to state on the record that I appreciate the collaborative efforts made by the Petitioners Council, the Economic Development Team, and Town Management to bring a brewery with a tap room to Cheshire. Craft breweries like Counterweight Brewing Company not only produce a product that is a boon for small towns, they create a space for communities to gather. While some may claim brewing beer to be a sin industry, I assert tap rooms are more akin to a local coffee shop than a traditional restaurant or bar. Their customers are seeking a social experience while enjoying a finite specialty item. Put another way, the typical craft brew customer is not out to tie one on. Further, a lower price point per customer makes this industry accessible to a larger demographic, creating a sustainable customer base, even in a troubled economy. I fully support making the necessary changes to Section 30, Schedule A of the Town of Cheshire zoning regulations that will allow Counterweight Brewing Company and other similarly situated businesses to manufacture beer, wine, or spirits in accordance with the laws of the state of Connecticut. Jamie Ferguson, 105 Copper Beach Drive. And in addition, they provide 4 links to different websites regarding support of breweries in small towns. And that is it for comments.
I might suggest that her letter and the references that she's referred to, although I couldn't open them on from the link, I did found one of them on the internet, and it's a study done by a college in South Dakota, but it supports pretty much supports everything that she said.
Okay, commission members, any other comments, questions, anything?
One question, Earl?
Sure, Mr. Tedesco.
Mr. Visone, so would the brewery only be serving what it made at the brewery? Would it have a full bar license for the restaurants and otherwise, or is it just selling both for purposes of drinks or even retail what it manufactures itself?
I don't know the specific answer to that question, but I do know that if you get that there are certain licenses in the state of Connecticut to do with breweries. And I do believe that those control what can be served. They control the gallonage. Most of them I think that they would still have to get a full and different liquor license, and that the brewery beer brewing license would not allow in and of itself for there to be a sale of complete liquor array.
Hey, Bill, Matt Bowman saying he kicked out. Is there any way you could see that there's something with him that he could be invited back?
He can log back in through his invitation. He should be able to log right back in. And when he pops up again, I'll admit him. I can't really do anything from here.
Okay, I just let him know.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Tedesco, I don't know if that answers your question, but they would have to apply for a full liquor license.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other commission members? No. Any other comments come in to us, Bill?
Not pertaining to this, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I'm not sure if he has a question, if Mr. Bowman has a question or what the story is.
Hey,
You should be able to email it in like residents can if you can't get in.
BJ,
Yes.
I just want to ask Bill one question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
On the breweries, I'm talking about distilleries. Would that be the same thing? Like if they want to do like
Yeah, well, the request is broadened, Sean, because occasionally we get people who have asked about distilleries. They want to make hard liquor.
yeah, that's what I'm asking. That would be
Yeah, they could. You know, this basically enables it. Most of what we see are people want to make beer, but
Yep.
it's a kind of regulation where if you only limit it to beer the day after you approved it, somebody's going to want to make, you know, pumpkin cider. It just, you know, that's
No, I
why
know
we
that,
brought it that
that's
way.
what I'm wondering, if as long as
Yeah.
they'd be broad enough to do anything, because I know there was that state regulation that passed, that as long as they grew like 5%, if they grew.
Well, yeah, they're still subject to any and all regulations the state has with regard to their specific licenses. And we broaden it, as you know, what the application says is that any and all of those types of alcohol producing manufacturing that are permitted by the state. Somebody would have to secure a state license in order to get approval from you guys. It would have to be a state approved license. And this basically, I think, includes any and all the possibilities that we've seen.
The concept, Mr. Strollo, of growing a certain amount applied to the farm breweries.
Yeah,
that the
no, I know that.
State allowed recently.
Yep.
And they start out, when you start out with a farm brewery, you have to use a percentage of what contents of the beer, what it's manufactured with, has to be grown in the state of Connecticut. And ultimately, you have to get over to the point where if you have a farm brewery, you have to grow a certain percentage of that product on your own farm.
Yeah. No, I remember that. Like I said, I just
that would not.
Side, I'm wondering if that would pertain. We wouldn't be interfering with that.
No, and it would. There are numerous brewery liquor permits from the state that are not related to farms and growing the product.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
EJ, I just want to let you know I'm back.
You're back. All right. I was worried.
I'll talk to you later.
Before I close this public hearing. Mr. Bowman, did you have any comments before I close the public hearing?
No, I don't.
Okay. So with that, I'll be, Anthony, you're all set?
I am.
Okay. I will be closing this public hearing. Thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Vitale, second by Mr. Picado. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. I'm not sure if Woody's on. Is Woody?
No,
No? Okay.
no, he comes in and out. He's been, I re-up him when he comes in and he's having trouble staying connected, so.
I'm enjoying watching him.
Okay, so with Woody being out for any voting, well, let's open up the next hearing. I'd like to call to order planning and zoning regular meeting of May 11, 2020. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes from the public hearing and the special meeting from March 9th, 2020?
Motion to approve both.
Moved by Mr. Natale, second by Mr. Strollo. Any discussion, communications? I know there was something that I said before in an email. I just want to make sure that was straightened.
I think there were two emails that came through. One was from me that Mr. Dawson was in attendance at the last meeting, but he wasn't listed. And I think Mr. Mercado might have had one too.
Yes.
That he emailed in.
Something about the parking requirements, Robert.
Yeah, I just had to have a response to my question, which I believe was added.
All right, should I just wait on the minutes? Because I don't know, we don't have Marilyn here to know that the changes were made.
Well, she
I
knows
got a
that.
response from her that my changes were made. I don't know.
You got her. And adding Mr. Dawson is not a tough one to do. So all those, any other questions about the minutes? Okay, all those in favor of the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Under communications, we have a letter from Sean M. Kimball, Cheshire Town Manager, dated 4/13/2020 for 824 review of potential purchase of property, 257 Road. Bill, do you have that?
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion regarding this, Mr. Chairman, and let me read the motion if anybody has any questions, okay?
You want to read the letter?
Cheshire Planning,
Letter?
You ready?
You want to read the letter first, or?
I suppose. April 13, 2020, dear Chairman Kurtz, it is respectfully requested the Planning and Zoning Commission review the town's potential purchase of property located at 257 Fen Road, and issue a report pursuant to Section 824 of the Connecticut General Statutes, a copy of the purchase agreement, a memorandum of agreement, a proposed property description, and a map of the property are attached. Best regards, Sean M. Kimball, Town Manager. I do have a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, go ahead.
Cheshire Planning and Zoning Commission finds the proposed purchase of approximately 48 acres property at 257 Fen Road is consistent with the policy recommendations of the 2016 Cheshire Plan of Conservation Development, which states that the town should remain committed to the purchase of open space alone and in partnership with other agencies, including the Cheshire Land Trust, the Regional Water Authority, and the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and hereby recommend this purchase in accordance with Section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes. Mr. Chairman, this property was recently subdivided a portion
I
of
got to get it
You ready?
moved in a second. Moved by anyone?
Mr. Point of clarification, we have 7
Can I get it
commissioners
moved?
present.
Let's get it moved and seconded first, if we can. Moved by Mr. Strollo, seconded by Mr. Natale. Okay.
So we have 7 commissioners present. We're going to need 2 alternates.
Okay, I see Belmont here, and I see Miss Downs here, so those 2 will be voting in
Earl,
Wood Place.
Earl, this is Lou. I should recuse myself. This is right in my backyard.
Okay, so we're gonna take, Mr. Anderson is here, so Mr. Anderson is gonna be there also. Bill, did you have other comments that you were trying to make?
Well, I just wanted, if the commission has any questions, this is the property portion of which was subdivided by John Rickey. It is actually, was a negotiation, and the agreement was with the town of Cheshire, the Cheshire Land Trust, and the Regional Water Authority to purchase it jointly. It is adjacent to an existing 10 acres of open space on its southerly portion, and it has the Dominicus property is to the east. So it's it's another link in the open space chain we have out there, and there is some logic from that perspective. So, and it is in keeping with the Plan of Conservation Development. So,
Okay, great, love it. Any other discussion on this motion? Mr. Mercado?
No, I was gonna ask people on the phone to mute their phones also.
I hear the background. I don't-
Choppy.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And Mr. Tedesco was out, and Mr. Anderson was in his place. So the motion carries unanimously 9-0. Okay, on number 2, we have a letter from Anthony Fazzone, Coleman Farm subdivision road name.
if I may, Mr. Chairman, dear Commission members, in October 2017, the Commission approved the Coleman Farm subdivision with the road name Concord. The developer would like to change the street name. Accordingly, we are hereby requesting the Commission approve a change of the name to Monarch Place. Very truly yours, Anthony J. Fazzone. This is dated April 22nd, 2020. Mr. Chairman, the subdivision that's referred to here has undergone a change in ownership, and they wish to change the name to Monarch Place. Monarch referring to the monarch butterfly, and it doesn't. They want to call it Monarch Place instead of Monarch Court, which logically makes sense because they didn't want any confusion about what the word monarch was supposed to refer to. They have made a commitment preservation and protection of the monarch butterfly. I do know this, and they wish to honor that with changing the street name. There are no houses on the street. Only one has been submitted for permitting recently, and it is not in conflict with the Cheshire subdivision regulations. I do have a motion, if I may.
Yes, please.
Bill, please.
Yes.
It's Matt Bowman. I am recusing myself.
Okay.
Okay.
The Cheshire Planning and Zoning Commission find that the proposed name change for the Coleman Farm subdivision as requested by Attorney Fazone is not in conflict with the provisions of the Cheshire subdivision regulations and hereby approve this request.
Moved by
Move staff ordering.
Mr. Natale, second by Mr. Mercado. Any discussion on this motion? All right, so if Mr. Bowman is out,
Then we're good with all three.
all three again? Okay, I can't see everything on my screen, so everybody will be voting. All those in favor of this motion, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
And no one's abstaining. Motion carries unanimously. Under unfinished business, Bartlett headquarters we left open. Zone
Hey,
text change-
EJ,
Yes.
did you say who was voting no or no? I didn't hear you.
Was there a no? I didn't hear a no.
No, there was no, but I'm just saying is that like, I know that Matt bowed out, but how many people were there?
We have three missing. So we have Matt, Mr. Carderas, and Mr. Dawson missing.
Yep.
So all three alternates voted.
Okay.
Along-
I just want to make
along
sure
with
that
everybody
for
else.
the record, I didn't, hear you say that. Okay.
I wasn't gonna do any roll call or anything unless there was a no or anything like that. That's why if it's a yes or nothing else, then I wasn't gonna go any further.
I just want to be clear who was voting, so the three alternates are voting. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, everybody comfortable voting on the zone text position for change petition for Counterway Brewing? I see a bunch of shaking heads, yes, okay. Mr. Volker, can we hear
May I have a motion?
the motion,
Yeah.
please?
Zone text change petition to add new paragraph 58A to section 30 Schedule A. The Cheshire Planning and Zoning Commission find that the proposed zone text change to add new paragraph 58A to section 30 Schedule A under permitted uses, which reads as follows. A, breweries, wineries, distilleries, and any other alcoholic manufacturing facilities licensed by the state of Connecticut to be permitted as site plan uses in the commercial 2 and commercial 3 and industrial 2 districts, and by special permit industrial 1 district will provide for expansion of the economic base with uses that are compatible within the districts that they are proposed. The amendment is not in conflict with 2016 Cheshire Plan of Conservation and Development. The commission also recognizes that any future development will be subject to site plan or special permit approval, which will provide review of all exterior site design issues and hereby approve this application with an effective date of June 5th, 2020.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Mercado, seconded by Mr. Natale. Discussion on this motion. I think we all agree it's an awesome addition to town. And just Counterway would also anyone that would come in and into this would be or winery or would be a great long time coming, exactly. Okay, so we're gonna have our alternates, Mr. Selma and Mr. Anderson, vote on this one. I believe everybody else is here. We have 7 other ones. Okay, so all those in favor of the motion? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, motion carries unanimously of the people voting. All right, under new business, we have a special permit application of Gina Havlicek. When we would like to set that?
Our next regular scheduled meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Subdivision application of Carol Cayley, South Meriden Road, Colton Lane.
Next regular scheduled meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, re-subdivision application, Miller Napolitano Wolf LLC and TriStar
June 8th.
Development.
June 8th.
Okay, special permit modification, Hinman Partners LLC.
June 8th.
Okay, special permit application of Michael Bowman and Caitlin Bowman, 125 Main Street.
8th.
June
June
8th.
8th as well.
Okay. Be nice if we didn't have to do this June 8th, but we'll see how it works.
We
Anything
made it
else?
look easy.
Anything else to come before the commission tonight?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
All right. We made it. We did our first one. Good job, everybody. With
Good night,
that, I
everyone.
entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Mercado, seconded by Mr. Vitale. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you all. We did it.
Good night.
Stay safe.